You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a professional motivational speaker, Nancy can assist you to blow through your setbacks and start living full out. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Once again, here's Nancy.
Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about striving to get better. That might be getting better at what you do in your career. That might be getting better at your health and taking care of it. That might be getting better at having good relationships and connections in your life. So whatever that is for you, we want to work on that throughout today's show. We're also going to be joined by Clarence Singleton, and he's going to share with us his journey as a Marine in Vietnam, but also how he served during 9/11 and participated with helping others during that very tragic day and what he learned from it. It's a very powerful story. I also want to make sure that alongside hearing Clarence's story, that you are able to be inspired by so many of our guests. And you're welcome to go to the App Store, download the Living Full Out Show app. It's free for you, and hopefully you can get inspired while you're at the gym or on a road trip. We just want to make sure that we give you that inspiration every step of the way in your journey. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a listener on the line. We're going to go check in with them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Oh, hi, Nancy. Nice to speak with you.
Hi there. How can I help you?
Well, I have a question. I was wondering how to deal with the passing of a very dear friend of mine.
I'm so sorry for your loss. This friend that's passed away, what is it about the loss that hurts you the most? Obviously, grieving is difficult in many ways, but how does that affect you the most?
Well, it happened so fast. We weren't expecting that surgery wouldn't work, and she was very vivacious and go-getter, and so all of a sudden she's gone, and I really miss her.
Now, what was something that she taught you in the time that you knew her?
Let's see. What did she teach me? She taught me to reach out to everyone and enjoy life, and she did enjoy life.
Mm-hmm. And what was one of the best moments you ever had with her? The time that just sticks out to you. It could be a heartwarming moment or a funny moment.
Well, there were many moments that we shared. We both belonged to an organization and would go to these monthly meetings and have a really good time together.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say that she would say to you to help you, give you comfort during this time? If it wasn't her that had passed, somebody else, what would she say to you?
Oh, I know she would say, don't worry. I have moved on to a better place, and I just want you to enjoy your time, and don't worry about me. I'll be okay. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's what she would say, but, for the person left behind, I do miss her.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, missing somebody is a good thing. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people whose hearts are closed. There's a lot of people who have made bad decisions. They have broken relationships. Maybe they've never opened themselves up to, deep friendships like you had with her. So this missing is a good thing. It's a good thing. But it's also good to know that she would say those words to you and that she is in a good place, a better place. And, one day, sounds like you're healthy and strong and a mover and a groover. But one day, we all have a lifespan. And what would you tell those people that miss you? What would you say to them?
What was the question again?
So one day down the line, when others are missing you and you're not here, what will you say to them?
Well, I would say, don't worry. I am in a better place now. I miss you, but please don't worry about me.
Mm-hmm. So do you see how you be saying the exact same thing as your friend is telling you? It doesn't mean that those future people won't miss you, just like you miss her. But again, isn't it good that they loved you?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that she wasn't planning on leaving so soon, and her friends, including me, weren't expecting her to leave as soon as she did. And so I think that is probably the hardest thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she just was a good friend, and she will be in the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I would do if I were you is keep talking about her. All these things that, when people pass away, I think about people in my life that have passed away. My grandfather, we called him Papa. Love him, talk about him all the time. Loved my stepdad, his name was Fred. Talk about him all the time. Loved my Jack Russell Terrier, Lionel Richie, which you all know him at the Living Full Out community. Talk about him all the time. And so you want to just continue to talk about her all the time. And she's right there in spirit when you go to that organization that you used to go to. And when she says, don't worry about me, I'm in a good place, you have to kind of cheer her on. And one of the things I think about when I have had people pass away in my life is I think I would not want them to have gone on to somewhere so great, but I would not want them to look down on me being sad. I would not want them to look down on me drinking more, sleeping in too much, So the best way to celebrate somebody's life is to embody that spirit, to live the way they would want. And I think if you do that, over time, she's just going to be right there every step of the way. Can you try that?
Right. Yes, I do believe that's true.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for calling in, and we will definitely pray for you. And I'm sure she's going to be right beside you. And she's proud that you asked this question, but in your own words, like you said, she's probably saying, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Okay.
That is true. And I really appreciate your taking the time to talk with me today.
You got it. Thank you so much, and take care of yourself. And I'm really grateful, actually, that she asked that question, because today we are talking about striving to get better. And sometimes that's striving to get better even during times when we're grieving. And sometimes that's just taking day by day, a little bit, every day, getting a little bit more happy in, a little bit more laughing in, a little bit more of that swagger we had before the person passed. But truly, remember what I said. People who love us, people who move on, they would want you to be living your best life. And at the end of the day, this life is precious. I oftentimes think to myself, I'm so grateful to be here, but I think about so many who don't make it, babies that never make it to their first breath, or, pets or children who pass well before they ever should. So really leap away from today's show, striving to be your best, do truly checking the boxes you can, taking those leaps of faith when they're available, and loving big. And when you do that, we are living full out. We are able to watch ourselves grow. And when we journey through today's show, and especially in our next segment, we'll be joined by Clarence Singleton, you want to look for in your life, where is there like a burden feeling, a lonely feeling, a feeling that is not serving you? Today is the day that you let that go. And again, live life for you and all those that you love. We'll be right back after this break with Clarence Singleton, an interview you don't want to miss.
Life looks a little different. During these times, we're doing our best to keep our minds and bodies strong. And getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters. Like having game night at home. Yeah, can't do that while sick with the flu. Now imagine family movie night that your daughter can't live without. Well, that's ruined. And don't forget your uncle's socially distanced cookout. See? That's why it's important to be at our strongest. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about striving to get better. And we have brought you an inspirational guest today, Clarence Singleton, who is such a great example of what it means to live full out. And he is a hero in my book. So I'd like to welcome Clarence to the show.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you.
Hello,
you again.
Oh, hello, my hero. And I do mean that. And everybody will know why I say that as we unpack your story. But I just kind of want to, share with everybody your early beginnings in the sense that, boy, you were one of 8 kiddos.
Yes.
Grew up in a family that, didn't have it all. You're on the poorer side. You worked early. You worked hard. And when you had the opportunity, you saw the Marines as an option, as kind of a career choice for you early on, and decided to take that leap of faith, truly. And you found yourself in Vietnam from 18 to 20. Now, Vietnam, obviously, everyone kind of looks back at history differently, but to me, I do think that you were a hero in the sense that you were fighting for our country. I know that must have been terrifying because you didn't think you would come back. And in fact, they kind of had dog tags in different places on all of you just for that very reason. Can you share with us about that?
Oh, yeah, Nancy, I was with the 2nd Battalion 9th Marines, and we were just known for not coming back home. As a matter of fact, one unit that was attached to us was dubbed the Walking Dead. And we just didn't rotate out of Vietnam unless we were actually wounded or in a coffin. And in my case, I was wounded. By the way, I should say that when I graduated from Parris Island, South Carolina, I was they termed it outstanding Marine, but it was be the valedictorian of my class. So,
Of course you were, Clarence. so many accolades there, but actually that was important because of how you grew up and needing to work at such a young age, your life could have taken a different turn. So that's why I actually call you a hero because, you worked hard, you got good grades, you wanted to be a Marine. It took you to Vietnam. You did your best. But when you came back from Vietnam, even though you were very successful, you supported your teammates, you did your job to the best of your ability, when you came back, our beautiful America was not welcoming to a lot of veterans when they came back. And you really struggled getting a job. But when a bank finally said, yes, we would be honored to hire you, what did that feel like?
Oh, it felt really great because prior to that, as you said, I was searching, no one would hire me because I served in Vietnam. So when the medical doctor told me, basically, he saw the scars on me. He said, where did you get those scars? I said, I'm a Marine. I got them fighting in Vietnam. So he says, get off the table. You're good enough to go there. You're good enough to work here. You don't need an exam. But that felt really great. And as a matter of fact, I think about that to this very day. Just a couple of days ago, I was thinking about it, and tears came to my eyes, because and the tears of joy, that somebody recognized me and my efforts, So. Yeah.
Well, and you did good really good in that job. You were there for many years, and you had many different jobs until you found kind of your new home in working for the fire department. And what was it about the fire department that kind of almost had the same camaraderie as being a Marine?
Yeah, Nancy, I knew, of course, I'd never been on the fire department before, but I knew it was a tough job, you know, and I said, that's what I want. And also, I think that I didn't realize it at the time, but my self-esteem was so low, then people could see Clarence in the fire department and doing something worthwhile, you know, sort of like to build myself up, which is not bad. But and it was a great job for me. I think about it now. Sometimes I wish I was back there. It was a great job. And in my next life, I'm going back to be a firefighter all over again.
Well, and you're a good sport, but I mean, you had sustained wounds and injuries in Vietnam that probably kind of reared their head again when you were a firefighter, right? Just the shoulder and ankle.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my ankle still swells to this day. That was one of the parts of my body that was hit in Vietnam. There's 4 other spots, and all of them still bothers me to this very day. But I just I did it. You know, I just went through the process, and I took the pain, and because I wanted to be a firefighter. There was nothing I wanted to be more at that time than being a firefighter. And also, Nancy, I had to develop weight. Like when I was training, going to the fire department academy, I learned to take the weight off of my right foot that was injured. So I kind of leaned on my left a lot, you know, until the chief caught me one day and made me stand straight.
Well, and you know, you were very successful as a firefighter, but you did decide to retire around 51, and just different decisions made that the right choice. But being somebody who is so hero-minded, you know, supportive, wanting to help people, I mean, how does one even retire with that state of mind?
It was difficult. It was difficult. As a matter of fact, I was walking the streets of Brooklyn, and a fire truck passed me, and tears came to my eyes. So they're riding without me, and I told at the time, my girlfriend, I said, you know, when I retire, no one is going to call me lieutenant anymore. And she said, oh, Clarence, you'll be my lieutenant. But actually, when I went back around the guys around my fraternal organization, they were still calling me lieutenant. I was all right. I still got it, you know. But it was very difficult. And I'd worked all of my life, so retiring was not a part of my thinking at the time. You know, I had 2 kids in college, and I had to retire to get some money to put them through, because me and my wife, we used to split the bills. She was a registered nurse, but burnt out from working in a hospital. So I had all of these bills. So I had to retire to get some money that I couldn't get until after retirement to put them through college. And otherwise, I still would have been probably in there. I would have been an old man still in the fire department.
I don't put the word Clarence and old together. I'm sorry. I don't think there is anything old about you. But I do think very much, and I stand by this, that you are a hero. And I want everyone to stay with me, because really it was 9/11 where you re-engaged, you know, all that Marine training, all that, you know, being a lieutenant. You know, it was the meeting of the moment, and you did sacrifice once again. So everybody stay with us. We're going to be coming right back with more with Clarence after the break.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school, I learned that I'm ugly and useless. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. In history, I learned that I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick. And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me.
In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. And in math, I learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today?
The only thing I didn't learn today?
The only thing I didn't learn
is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
I'm Nancy Solari, certified life and business coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
They'll challenge your authority.
Put your seatbelt on. Not the boss.
They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
7 million children suffer from asthma, more than any other chronic disease. Most asthma attacks are caused by allergic reactions to allergens, including those left behind by cockroaches and mice. In fact, 82% of U.S. households contain mouse allergens, and cockroaches are found in up to 98% of urban homes. How can you protect your family? Find out at pestworld.org. A message from the National Pest Management Association and the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. In partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about striving to get better, and we're here with Clarence Singleton sharing with us his inspirational story and journey. So I'd like to welcome him back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. And as I was just saying, here you were retired. You could have been doing anything, but when 9/11 happened and you heard the rumblings of literally what had happened, not really knowing the details, you suited up. Even though you weren't still, working at the station, you went there and you wanted to help in any way you could. Now, what's interesting is you were helping, and there were some men that were having an issue with the fire hydrant and getting that working correctly, and you jumped in. And then as one of the buildings started to fall down around you, you lost your footing and you fell. And as you fell, you misplaced your glasses and you found your way to a brick wall. When you got to this wall, you couldn't get over the wall. So what did you do?
Well, the first wall I came to was too tall for me to scale because I had a right shoulder dislocation at the time from the fall. So I took a few steps back, and I moved to my left, and it was a shorter wall, a brick wall. I managed to scale with one arm, and then I looked down what I thought was 3 or 4 steps, and I saw the fire marshal that I was working with earlier, and he didn't have a speck of dust on him, which was impossible because dust was going around corners on September 11. But he looked at me and he said, "I see you made it," words of encouragement. And he was standing in a doorway with a lot of bright light shining through. And I didn't think anything of it. Oh, as a matter of fact, I asked for my camera because we had been taking pictures before the tower collapse. And I didn't think anything of it. But come to find out that putting pieces together, I was wearing my glasses at the time, so I could not have seen him with my natural eye, with some kind of vision or something like that. Yeah. So,
and later on, when you told this story, people who lived in that area said there is no wall. Mm-hmm. Like this place does not exist. Mm-hmm. And when you think about that moment, and I know you've also had, flashbacks even of your time in Vietnam, are those messages, or is that your faith calling you? What is that?
I just know that, Nancy, that I think that God allows us to grow through certain things, and he allowed me to be there that day and brought me out, in a position where I could actually share my story with others and, to help others along the same, who might be having some same issues that I'm having, like post-traumatic stress and depression, things like that. So I was in the right place at the right time. God, the divinely guided, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Guided you towards the fire marshal that wasn't there, but probably allowed you to crawl to safety. Now, this dust that was whirling around, decades later, has really caused you a lot of problems. In what way today are you dealing with health issues due to that dust?
Oh, yeah. Well, for quite some time, probably a couple of years, my breathing was really, really terrible. And the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. They were giving me albuterol and some other breathing medication, but nothing was actually working. And I would do a pulmonary function test, and they were telling me, "Clarence, you're okay." I passed out in the house one night, blacked out, and I went to the emergency room. "We can't find anything." I said, "I don't care what your machines are saying. There's something wrong with my breathing." Finally, and they couldn't figure out whether my lungs or heart. So finally, the fire department doctor a couple of weeks ago had me take an echogram, an EKG, and a nuclear stress test. And all 3 of them came back showing some abnormalities. So my doctor here in Virginia at the hospital, he said, "Well, what we're going to do now, Clarence, is give you another test, a catheter." So it was last Wednesday. He did some tests, and he came into after the test, he came into the recovery room, and he said, "Clarence," he said, "your test proved okay. There's no hardening of arteries, no blockages or anything." So at that moment, I knew what it was because my sleep apnea doctor told me at the VA hospital. She said, "It could be sleep apnea that's causing your breathing." And I'm pretty sure that's what it was because even sitting on the deck now after the catheter and all the tests, I can still have difficulty breathing. I gasp for air sometimes, even lying flat on my back on the couch or in bed. I gasp for air sometimes, but I do have a dental device that the doctor at the VA sent me out to a sleep doctor, and they made me this device. So I have gotten some relief from the difficulty breathing.
All due to the sleeping, that sleep apnea. I'm curious, again, you have lived your life to serve, and you've really been, anytime you've been called upon, you've been there. But there are regrets you have, and I know that, today you actually even go and you work with some new recruits, and you tell them your story, and you tell them, things that they should strive for. And one of the things that you kind of regret is not furthering your education. You know, you're a proud lieutenant, but you wish you had gone on to captain and then chief. Why is that?
Well, Nancy, because I know that I had the ability to become a fire chief, and I knew I would have been a really good one. And then that gave me the opportunity to continue helping people. And as a matter of fact, when I became a lieutenant, actually before I became a lieutenant, I knew I had what it took to be a leader of men. And so that's why I wanted to become a chief officer. As a matter of fact, one of my captains told me at one point, he said, Clarence, I wish I had an entire company of men just like you. So I knew I had what it took, you know. That it takes me a lot to say that, but because I don't really like talking about myself in that respect, but yeah.
But you regret not kind of pushing through to get that further education?
Yes. Yep. And one of the things that caused me to stop studying, we were studying for the lieutenant test. We studied for years, and the city kept postponing. So a big portion of the reason I didn't study further because I was just burnt out from the books. You know, it's a lot of studying.
You know, I think a lot of people can relate. I mean, a lot of people can relate to that. They're burnt out, especially those who work long hours, multiple jobs. And, you know, you recently went and spoke at a high school, and you were very honest about depression and just all that you go through on a daily basis. But what was the outcome of that?
Yeah, that was a school in I live in Virginia, and they asked me to come out to, that was Arizona at the time, to speak to some kids, and as a matter of fact, 2 schools. And I was supposed to go back, but then COVID came to town, and they weren't able to have me come back out. But that's another thing. The kids sent me, or the teachers, an envelope full of thank you notes and things like that. But I wish I could go back out and speak to them again just to see how they're doing, but I haven't had the opportunity. Of course, they have to invite me out. But I did go to California after that, a few months or a year after that, I think it was, and spoke to a group. And it was the same thing. They enjoyed my talk. And that was for, I forgot what the occasion was, but then they asked me to come back to be the grand marshal of their annual parade. That was in Azusa, California.
And when you're able to talk openly about depression and just war and 9/11, I mean, now you talk about the dust and the sleep apnea. You know, do you feel like you're still on equal footing, like the same purpose throughout being a Marine to a firefighter to a speaker, or are they different?
I think that they are different, but at the same time, they're the same because I'm giving them the information for the challenges that I've gone through in life. And actually, some of these young people are using, I've been told many, many, many times that because someone read my book, how it got them through a challenge. There's a store here in Virginia I used to frequent, and this young lady asked me, she said, Clarence, I wrote you a letter. Would you read it? I said, of course. And one day I went in and she handed me a letter. In essence, the letter read that she wasn't able to ride in cars. And then after reading my book, I gave her some strength to actually get in a car and go to the beach with her parents. So Marine Corps, Fire Department, that's helping people, lending a helping hand. And I think by sharing my story, it's still helping people, which is what I like.
So you know, today we're talking about striving to be better. Why is that important to you?
I think that everyone should try to reach their full potential. And I wouldn't feel good about myself if I didn't put my all into it. And sometimes there are fears, Nancy, that kind of want to interfere and stop me from doing what I need to do. But I push my fears aside, and I just do it. And it turns out that the fear was nothing but the boogeyman, so I just go through it.
Well, let's not give that boogeyman any power, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you will always be a hero to me, Clarence. Thank you so much. I mean, I know that if disaster were to happen, even today, you would suit up and be the first person there. That's just who you are.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for, sharing your story with us, and we're going to keep praying for you and wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
And for everybody listening today, just like Clarence, I mean, just sharing our stories, even when sometimes they give us sweaty palms or sometimes when they're hard to talk about, that's what unites us all. That's what gives us that, camaraderie, that spirit. So we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Let us know what you went through, how you got through it, most of all, what you learned, and perhaps we can have you on as an inspirational guest. So we're going to be coming right back after this break. It's all about striving to be better.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
When it comes to striving to be better and just knowing if you just give a little bit more, that extra inch, just another minute of time, what could be? Personally, I'd always rather never live in regrets, but look forward and just give it your best, because when you're doing that, you're living full out. And you know what? You're going to be surprised what you're dreaming for, wishing for, it really can come true.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a professional motivational speaker, Nancy can assist you to blow through your setbacks and start living full out. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Once again, here's Nancy.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about striving to be better and do your best and just roar, right? Go after life with vigor. Well, the thing is, I understand sometimes the days get long and the hurdles just keep on coming. And whenever I have been confronted or at that crossroad of time where it's like, it'd be so easy to just call it a day early. It'd be so easy to say, you know what, this is just not for me. But I do know that when I have pushed through and I've got creative, you know, that's where the story lies. Now, when I say that's where the story lies, you know, when you go out and you're at a happy hour with friends, or you're at a networking function and everyone's at a round table and they're talking about stories, and you hear some people and they're like, wow, they're amazing. Wow, kudos to you. Wow, that is, you're so creative. Those people have nothing on you. But you have to get to that moment where you hit that brick wall, where you are tested in order to get the story. And, you know, I remember back, way back, we actually opened our doors to Living Full Out in 2008. And back then we started with coaching. That was before speaking and radio and TV and publishing, all the things we offer now. And back then I wanted to get my certification in life coaching. And I was the only person in a class of 20 that was visually impaired. And the entire curriculum of 8 different books were all hardbound books. Now, it would have been really easy for me to say, you know what, this is too hard, or, you know, I need special accommodations, which what were they really going to do? None of those books were in a digital form. It was well before the time of all these books that are out now. And so at the time, I asked my assistant, I said, okay, let's grab the scanner. And page by page, she scanned every book into my computer. And that way, I could read it. I could listen to it through my talking software and be able to study just like all the other students in the class. But it came with rolling up the sleeves, mine and my assistants, and digging in and painfully scanning every page so that I could listen to every page, not just skim the words, but actually listen to every word. And, you know, I was so proud when I got my certification, and so much so that when KFWB, a radio station in Los Angeles, came knocking on the doors of that, it was called IPEC at the time, it was the life coaching school, they said, we would love a life coach to do a radio show. And the person's first thought was, well, you've got to call Nancy. And, you know, out of all the 20 people in that class, I was the first person that came to mind because of that tenacity, because of that need to get creative. So I want you to think about where in your life you can strive to be better. Just do a little bit more. For those of you like myself, I get it. You might think to myself, I don't have genes. My parents are overweight. My family has health conditions. Things are genetic in our family. All those genetics, those genes, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be that way. We have come so far with medicines and fitness and dietary that, you don't have to live the way your family has. Believe it or not, there might be a 2-pack ab just screaming to come out of you. You might have 6-pack abs. I don't know. With a little extra effort, what could be possible with your health? And now, being someone who is legally blind, trust me, it's not like all of a sudden I can start seeing again. Some things are outside the bounds of what we can do. But for those of you who can get LASIK, if I could get that in a heartbeat and it could improve my vision, I would. So I think it's about becoming inquisitive. It's about asking questions. It's about putting in the work. And hard work, you've always heard the saying, it's not about working hard, it's about working smart. I think it's about working both. I think you want to work smart so that you find all those creative options and get resourceful. But hard work is not a bad thing. I mean, there's times today, many days, where because I have to listen to everything, like I have a software program called JAWS on my computer, and it reads every email to me. It reads all my Word docs to me and PDFs. And sometimes in order for me to review everything that I need to for my team at Living Full Out, I have to get up really early, 2-3 hours early, just so I can truly hear with my ears spreadsheets and Word documents. And I don't say that to be like, look at me, but I say that because if you do the work, you're prepared. Like when I get up early and I give myself that time, the day is peaceful. It's good. I'm ahead of schedule. And you have that ability to do that. You don't need to be that procrastinator. You don't need to be that person that feels like you're doomed. You're not doomed. I want you to take today to strive to be better. So you know what? Go on your phone, listen to a podcast, grow a little bit. You know what? Go to the gym, stay an extra 10 minutes longer than you normally would. When you do that, I think you're going to be surprised that positive changes are going to happen to your life. Now, the entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. We want to make sure that you stay motivated on the go. Remember, the Living Full Out show is in the App Store, so you can check us out anytime. As always, here's to all of you living full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Here's to you, living full out.